So, hello.
Hello, guys.
We always need to do this with the hands, right? Because it's as if it's sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
I don't know.
I'm gonna learn for the next one. I'm gonna learn the sign language. Yeah, we always do this and all that. I think it's a human thing. Anyway, hello, welcome to another Crack in the Code. Is number.
Bonjour, boa tarde.
Boa tarde. Yeah, there you go. Number 8, right? Number 8. Yes. Wow, it's been time's passed, right? Time's passed.
It's true.
And yeah, today, what are we talking about today?
Overrated, underrated trends in food and beverage.
Yeah, according to us, obviously.
Like
right?
Yeah, of course.
It is a personal opinion. It is actually a professional opinion from us as well. But obviously, we are people, right? So a lot of these opinions are personal. I know you disagree with some of mine, but
I can't wait.
It is what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of, we do feel that there's a lot of overrated and underrated stuff there, right? I think there are new trends that are really cool, but old trends are gone and that continue to be trends and so on and so forth. So here we are. Amazing chat last week.
Yeah, that was
right?
Really cool.
Yeah, really nice. We discussed about this green stuff, which is a trend as well. This green kitchens, green hospitality, so to say. And yeah, so shall we get cracking?
Okay.
All right, you ask the first one, or I start?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's start with.
What you're asking.
No. Let's start with. You know me, but you're gonna be fine with this one, I guess. I've got a little list here. Okay. Let's start with. There are a lot of new concepts out there, but we see a trend coming up: Asian and Middle Eastern cuisine. What do you think? Overrated or underrated?
I think it's underrated, to be honest. I don't know if you remember, but like a few years ago, it was a lot of Latin cuisine, like Peruvian, a lot Mexican, all this. Now you can see that Middle Eastern cuisine is going like really, really well. Like, because when you hear Middle Eastern cuisine, it's kind of, healthy, all this trend like with a lot of herbs, spicy and stuff like this. And this trend is coming like, it's going crazy, to be honest, like Turkish food, this kind of stuff. So I think for me, it's underrated. I don't think it.
I think it's also wholesome cuisine, isn't it? It's, all these grills and all this, that is not, you wouldn't call it the fine dining. It's very hard to have Middle Eastern cuisine in a fine dining concept. We saw a few, right? That before clay didn't succeed, but it's quite hard to actually have a fine dining Middle Eastern, but due to the fact that they're very wholesome, the dishes are very big and all that. So it's quite, it's quite interesting. I agree with you
and
on that.
And Asian as well, not only like Chinese, Vietnamese, it's all about curry stuff. This is also coming like tempura, dishes. This is coming like really, really trendy nowadays.
There was a time when there was a lot of... It is. The trend happened, but before it was more about Asian and Latin, right? You remember...
Yeah, like a fusion,
Yes, it was a lot of fusions.
It was all about fusion,
Yeah, there was like Peruvian, like you mentioned, like you go to Sushi Samba in London, for example, you have Peruvian, Brazilian, and Asian, and Japanese. Yeah. It's quite, there was a lot of that. I think things have changed right now. People are going more pan-Asian because Asian food has really, come up. So... Cool. I think I agree with you there. Not that it matters anyway, because, But yes, okay, your turn.
Okay, what about... wait.
What are you drinking?
I have a list. Well, it's almost done, actually. I forgot to refill it.
I think that's a fake. I think you put that... Yeah, you're drinking alcohol. You put it there just to
come on, this is mate.
Yes, it looks...
If the bag wasn't in here,
yes.
Maybe, could be.
Yeah, but I mean...
think about it for next time.
Okay, yeah. Put the bag in there next time anyway, with juniper, and then add gin and something. Cool. Anyway, you were asking?
GreenKitchen.
GreenKitchens.
Like environmental concern, all this kind of trendy.
So the Greta Thunberg approach, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I like it. I think it's definitely underrated. I think it is underrated, but people are businesses are seeing the need to keep up with the developments of the world. I mean, the climate. I'm not one of those that says, yeah, it's not warming because it was very cold yesterday. No, yeah, we have climate change. I'm not talking.
Trump.
Yeah, there you go. It was very cold yesterday. It's not warming. Anyway, let's move on from that. I think I'm not talking about the polar bear. We see the world. I mean, we see right now in France, for example, a third of all the wine across the country
It's a disaster.
gone. Why? There was a cold bite, right? There was a lot of cold coming that never comes at this time.
Yeah.
It was
a fire, in the middle.
they
of
put
the
candles
yard.
and
It's
stuff.
crazy.
Why? To warm it
Yeah.
up, but they couldn't save it. The same in the Eastern Europe as well. There's a cold front that comes and it kills the agriculture. This is not normal. You see, the climate is changing. We know that. It's warmer than ever. The seas are rising. The ice caps are breaking. We need to. Everyone needs to kind of help change the environment. I think it's the job of our generation and the generation that's coming to definitely do it. And I'm with all that. I think before people used to do it it was a CSR approach, right? A marketing thing. I'm green and I use some cassava like we discussed in last week's podcast, right?
It was just to show off, kind of.
Yes, like look at me, we have zero waste. Like Facebook came back now saying that Mark Zuckerberg the other day saying that they operate on a carbon neutral, zero carbon, how do you call it? There's no emissions. There's no emission, right? Because they plant enough trees to counter the whatever they use. But I don't believe in that either. But we do see a trend of green kitchens, of the environmental concerns that you mentioned there, and I think that's here to stay. It's a good trend. I think it's definitely underrated, not only because you can use it for marketing, but because I think it's important for the world, right? So, go green kitchens. Cool. So now it's my turn. What am I going to ask you? All right. I've got this. Yes. Okay. LiveStations or cooking at the table or anything of this sort. Let's talk about about any of that. Underrated or overrated?
For me, it's overrated.
Okay.
I
Why?
don't know, for me,
This is Red Bull, by the way.
I don't need to. I don't need to see, the guacamole made on my table to see that it's good and blah blah blah. I mean, I don't know. For me, sometimes you have the people who are coming on the table. You are in the middle of a discussion, and you don't want to be bothered. And you have the guy who is coming. Is like, hey guys, you're not gonna do the guacamole on your table. Like you have this. I don't know. For me, it's not something that I like, but this is only my opinion, obviously.
So you think it's an overrated trend? So you think it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for me, everyone is kind of doing it now. I don't know. In all the kind of places. I mean, I get the point that it's all about the experience that you give to your customer, and it's. For me, I don't like it. I mean, I think it's really personal, to be honest. It's just that I don't like to be bothered, when I go out, and I don't know.
I think, look, it depends on the setting that you go out, right? If you're on a date, right? Not you, because you're married, but if in case you do divorce from your husband and end up going to a date, I should cut this afterwards, right?
Yeah, you will have to.
Yeah. No, I mean, it depends on the setting, right? If you're a group of friends or with a bunch of people that you don't really care about, but you went because you have that one friend that invited you, and then the waiter comes and makes whatever it is on the table, right? Okay, that's, it takes your attention away.
Cocktail might be different. I mean...
Yeah, for example.
Cocktail, I went to Zuma once. Mm-hmm. The guy came and made the best old-fashioned that I ever have in my life.
There you go.
And the experience, the guy brought the wood on the table, smoked it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, smoked it, yeah.
I mean, he made it and we were and actually it was a date with my husband. And
well, that's not called a date, that's called a night out.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, it was a night out then.
Well,
And,
yeah.
and I was like, wow, you know, I wasn't bothered at all. So maybe it's depending which type of, you know, live stuff you do.
Yeah. Another reason, I kind of agree with you. I'm a bit weird, so I never take, you know, I'm a bit weird in those kind of settings. But another reason that I don't like, for example, you mentioned the guacamole. A lot of times there's a waiter that doesn't have the foggiest of how to mix the guacamole. And there he is making your guacamole. You know, he's opening the bloody avocados. And yeah, the chef gave him training and all this, but he doesn't put enough lime juice. He doesn't put, you know, the pico de gallo is not well mixed or whatever. You know, it doesn't taste as good as if the chef makes it. And it's all lovely, unless you have a chef coming out of the kitchen, right, to do that for you. That's amazing, because then you get to talk to him and all that. That's another type of table service.
Fine dining, yeah, is another experience.
Right, yeah. But, you know, we went like in Dubai. I went to a lot of places where, you know, there's the guy, he's struggling even to remove the bone from the avocado. I mean, and it's not their fault. It's just it's the training, or they're not chefs. That's not what
they're not chefs. You know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, you cannot ask them to do everything on the table. That's not possible. So
yeah, okay. Well, I think we're in agreement again, which is a bit weird. So underrated then.
Yes.
Yeah.
For you, let's go on my list then.
Oh God. People shouldn't know that we have lists and stuff, you know.
No, but it's cool because you don't know my list and I don't know yours. So
that's true story. Okay. True story.
What do you think about handmade stuff? Overrated, underrated?
I think it's definitely overrated. And
handmade.
I think it's overrated. Why? And I'll tell you why. You know, it became a big mark. There's a big difference between artisan stuff and handmade, right? You talk about, okay, everything is handmade. Yeah, you use your hands. You're not going to use your feet. We know it's handmade. We know it's made that. You have a restaurant. Wait, bear with me, yeah?
Yeah, I want to see where it's going.
You employ chefs. Obviously, they will make it there. It's handmade. It's like homemade. You know, it's all this approach. Everyone started using this as a marketing term. Homemade tortillas, homemade sauce. Yeah, great. You don't buy it, you make it there. It's your own sauce. That's amazing. But it's enough. You go to some places that every menu has, on every dish, there's something that's handmade, homemade. Okay, fine. You have a restaurant. We expect you to make it there. We don't.
I was going to say, actually, we
expect that to be done. I mean, homemade guacamole. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like stuff like this. For me, it just became. I think it's overrated because it became way too much. It became people using it as if that makes you better than the competition. You know, unless you talk to me about, okay, I grow my own fish. I have an aquarium at the back. I grow my own fish, and if you order a lobster, I'm going to put my little glove or my massive glove. I'm going to grab it, right? That's impressive. You know, really. I mean, handmade tortillas. I'm sorry, yeah, that's great. I mean, you make them with your hands. We understand that. You know, they're not a lot. You know, yeah, we say that because we don't use machines and machinery and all that. For us, you know, ultimately for the experience and the guests, it's about taste, it's about texture, it's about everything you get with the food. For me, I'm not saying the handmade products are overrated. I'm saying the use of the word handmade and homemade by the industry has become tiring. It's too much. It needs to stop, in my idea, in my opinion.
Okay. You convinced me a bit.
You were trying to trick me there.
I understand. Yeah, I was thinking that you were. I would have said like it's, you know, underrated, but okay, good.
But there you go. Right. So we agree on that one too. I'm getting a bit worried here. Okay, let me see. Here we are. So we were saying, okay, so.
Your turn, no?
It's my turn. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so non-alcoholic drinks and non-alcoholic cocktails. Overrated or underrated?
Definitely underrated.
Okay, why?
I don't know. I read an article that they were saying that alcohol, like consumption of alcohol declined, which I was surprised, you know, by this time of pandemic and stuff.
I'm not sure
Yes,
Maybe you know what?
No.
Maybe the person that wrote the article was drunk. No,
It was an article. It was from IWSR, the International Wine Spirit research thing, and they were saying that actually non-alcoholic drinks will increase up to 35%, something like this, by 2022.
Right.
I mean,
the sale of alcoholic drinks. You mean?
Yeah, of course. They're saying that a non-alcoholic drink is going really big, and that's true. You know, like we really focus on cocktail and stuff, but mocktails, I mean, for restaurants, it's a big deal. I think it should be a big deal because you have more and more people that really become healthy or are thinking, you know, like, cocktail with less sugar and stuff like that. You know, and some people just doesn't drink alcohol like they used to before. So I think it's really, really underrated.
Well, the case is not my case really, because I'll always love my glass of wine. I am Portuguese, so I don't think the wine sales will decrease with me. But I kind of understand why. When you said it first, I was like, really? They I think
definitely
they lowered the sales. But you know what? Now that I think of it, the pandemic has been going on for so long. People have been stuck at home for so long. Initially, everyone went on the booze like, oh my God, I can't deal with this, blah, blah, blah. Let me get drunk, blah, blah, blah. But then you get to a point that your health starts deteriorating. You start putting on weight. You start doing this, doing that. And then everyone goes, okay, this is going to continue. So let me try and make a change, so on and so forth, right? And then they start trying, and it's always down to the fact that they try and reinvent what they love without the alcohol part. It's like this, non-alcoholic beers and stuff, which are not quite bad.
Non-alcoholic beers, man, it's like it became like a huge trend now. Like,
every year I do 2 months. You say you always talk about
1
me.
month first.
No, I do 2 months. Before I started with 1 month.
1 month.
This year I did already.
You do a dry January.
I did it. No, and I did a dry October as well last year. But anyway, I like to do that because it's a nice break from alcohol. Your skin looks better and you feel better, blah, 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 blah. But it's also for a month. And then it goes back to the same old, But in reality, and then obviously, I have non-alcoholic beers. And there are some good beers out there that are almost the same thing, and I think it's also down to, your frame of mind. If you put in your mind, I'm not going to drink, you're not going to drink. And then whatever, beer tastes as good as, people are not as fun. I'll tell you that. During January, people were not as fun as they were in February. But it is what it is. So, okay. So we agree that it's underrated.
And I read also something that UK people are drinking less alcohol. I'm not joking. It's not a joke.
We have UK listeners. Why do you have a smirk? Why do you have a smirk? Are you saying that they normally are a bunch of pissheads?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But they have a reputation, right? So,
yes. In Dubai, especially in the UAE,
They like having a good time and have a drinks, right?
Yeah.
But
that's an euphemism. Yeah, very good.
It's good, right?
Yeah, very good.
But it's true. The consumption of alcohol is going down. That was crazy. I was like, I read it twice. I was really surprised.
No, you read it twice just to make sure. I'm telling you, maybe the guy that was writing it or the girl, they were drunk or they were British.
I put the link.
Okay, we put the link.
Know that I'm not saying,
okay, fine. Okay, we'll put the link on this and let's see if that's true or not, because I'm still struggling to believe it. But okay, so we agree on that as well. I completely agree. I think it's definitely underrated. There are amazing mocktails out there. There are amazing non-alcoholic drinks, and it's all a question of taste ultimately. I don't like sugar personally, but there are some really good stuff out there.
That's cool, because my next question is, what do you think about RedVelvet?
Oof, RedVelvet. You know what? I think it's massively overrated. And I'll really, and I'll tell you why. Everything about RedVelvet became, when they created the RedVelvet, which I can't tell you who he was, but I can tell you it was amazing at the time, right? The idea was that RedVelvet, they use food coloring, and they. There is a velvety type cake, very smooth, blah, 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 with a bit of cream, and it was amazing. Now everything is red velvet. You know, you add food coloring, you make it red, you put cream, and you call it red velvet cake. Why? Because red velvet you can charge more. If you say it's a red velvet something, you can charge more, which, you know, a lot of things. So if you close your eyes and you eat a red velvet muffin, it's a bloody muffin. It doesn't taste red at all. It's a bloody muffin. Do you know what I mean? They just use the red velvet to it's food coloring they use. A lot of places they're using the word red velvet to just increase their sales and to, you know, to add value to the product. But in reality, it's not velvety. It tastes like a bit of rubber sometimes. And, you know, and I was really disappointed in a lot of places I went. Red velvet is, red velvet that, and red velvet ice cream, and red velvet bloody. There's even red velvet spices now for your food. There's red velvet everything. You know?
I knew you would like this question.
No, because for me, it annoys me that, you know, I'm all for marketing and I'm all for adding value to your products and I'm all for all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, we as, you know, we worked in the industry so many years, we know that we need to find hooks to get the customer in, right? And whatever you need to use, right? And don't get me started on organic and all this kind of stuff. We know what we need to use, but it's too much. I'm saying it's overrated now because it's just too much. If you give me an amazing red velvet cake by how it started initially, yes, love it. But the way it is right now, the way they're using the word red velvet for everything, for me, is overrated, and it has to stop. That's it.
Okay, did you hear Mr. Carlos here?
It has to stop. I said it.
Please.
Done. Right. We just talked about pisshead, so I have a question for Juan. So, Leah, tell me about tequila. Tequila, the drink. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Why?
Because now you have mezcal, for example.
Oh my God.
It's true.
Okay.
I mean.
But you always had mezcal anyway. Mezcal was always there.
It's gone now. Now you have mezcal. You know, it's a new trend, and I think not a lot of people knows about mezcal.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not an English class anyway, so it's
fine. So yeah, I think it's definitely overrated, and that you have better type of shot. And if you want something that is kind of, mezcal is kind of have this smoke taste, but you know, it's made of agave, so that's why I spoke about mezcal. But yeah, I would definitely go for mezcal more than tequila.
So but for you, it's overrated. Yeah. I hate tequila, to be honest with you. I've never liked it my whole life, especially after that one night when I had like a few too many shots, and you know, I still don't remember why I hate it, but I know that night made me want to hate it forever. I'm not a big fan. I like mezcal, especially if it's a really good mezcal, aged. You know, I like it. I agree with you. By default, I mean, I like mezcal, but I don't really like tequila, and only the good mezcal. Unfortunately, I can't afford it, but you know, the good mezcal is very expensive. I mean, it's not. So it's a drink I don't choose. You know, I just don't buy it because I don't like the cheap stuff, and I can't afford the most expensive stuff. So there you go. You know, it's one of those. But I completely agree with you. Unless sometimes I treat myself, or you know, I just tell my wife, you know, I'm really in the need for some, you know, agave therapy, and then she, you know, she kind of, she does the needful, like they say. Oh God, that should be one of the. Anyway, So, thank you. Your turn. Shoot.
What about plant-based food and keto? Like this, you will tell us about your personal experience with keto.
No, right? You see, I kept telling you, and you kept saying that it was keto. I was telling you it's not keto, but I wasn't doing keto.
But
you know,
okay, I'm not taking the piece. Why
not? I wasn't.
Tell us about your experience. Overrated, underrated.
Okay, I'll break it in two parts. I'll say it's underrated, plant-based first. Why?
Okay.
Because plants are plants, right? We know that they're healthy, right? We know that, the paleo approach from back in the day, you know, back in the day, there was, you know, paleo used to be the way, you know, the human beings ate and all that, unless they kill a rabbit or stuff like this. I think the plant-based food and plant-based places that offer, that they offer vegan and vegetarian approaches and all that, I think it's great. I like the idea of creating menu items that don't the menu items that don't resemble the actual. For example, you create a plant-based burger. I'm not a big fan of creating a plant-based dish that resembles a dish that's not plant-based. I'm a fan of whenever I try a nice salad that's amazing, that tastes great, or but if you give me chicken wings made out of cauliflower, which you see a lot, right? I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. But I agree, I love plant-based, so I think it's definitely underrated. Second part of that, keto. First, I wasn't doing keto because for you to do keto, you need to follow your macros. The only thing I did, I stopped eating carbs, right? I don't eat carbs. Now I do once a week and all this, but I don't eat carbs because, I felt that it was great for me. I did it in January and with the alcohol loss, whatever, blah, blah. But the keto approach, if you think, when you think about it, the approach is to stop eating processed carbs, right? Mm-hmm. The healthy carbs are still okay, but eating the processed carbs. Back in the day, we didn't have, these processed pastas and all this kind of stuff. They're just not good for you. They're full of carbs, obviously. Your body doesn't like it. Your body performs well. For me, it's a good diet, not in the losing weight sense, but in a diet that makes you feel better. I felt better by doing it. You don't feel as bloated. You feel more energy if you increase your protein intake and your fat intake as well. If you eat more fat, you eat more protein. The keto diet, the reason I tell you I didn't do it is because keto requires you to eat 70% of your intake, or 60% in fat. I can't do that. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of fatty stuff. But I think it's definitely underrated because it gives you more energy, it's healthier, but it's not an easy diet to follow. So
yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's not for everyone.
Not eat carbs.
You almost can't eat anything, like really. You eat, it's so restricted to your diet. But it's a good, again, like I did it when I did.
But you don't really see this kind of trend in the restaurant. I mean, I saw paleo, I saw, like vegan, gluten-free stuff, but keto?
I mean, it's starting.
Then anyway, you just go with a stack. And then it's a keto.
Exactly. It's starting. I mean, the problem with that is that, for example, if you have balsamic and some balsamic has a lot of carbs, it's very hard to make a keto dish, right? Because you can eat fish, but you can't put everything in it. You can eat meat and you can eat cheese and you can eat, all this kind of stuff. But, there's a lot of stuff that you can't. And it's so restrictive that it's quite hard to make it tasty.
You can't have sugar neither, right?
No.
Yeah.
No sugar. No, it was really hard. It was really hard. But at the end, I felt more energetic. You eat if you follow that, then you feel better. So anyway, that's my experience. A lot of people have different experiences. Again, I didn't do the version of keto. I didn't do the keto diet. I did a similar version because, kind of a light keto kind of approach because it's really hard to stick to the macros. Plus, you need to be a nutritionist, right? To know what you're eating. Yeah. Cool. Next one for you. QRCodes. QRCodes, Leah. Tell us about it. Underrated or overrated?
Okay, there is a lot of people that are using it, but still I would say underrated.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that people are not using it at its full capacity. Like they just use it for the menu, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they should use it for a lot of stuff. Like for example, you can do you can use it for a fidelity program.
Loyalty,
like this kind of stuff. Loyalty program, yeah. I mean, you could use it like for a lot of things. And nowadays, like people just use it for the menu. So that's why I just say underrated. Although I know that there is a lot now restaurants are using it because of the pandemic and stuff like that.
I think it's because of that, right? It's not because they wanted to, it's because they ended up having to.
It was only for the pandemic, but I think it's something really smart. it's nice to have a proper menu. It's true, you know, and sometimes you have like, I mean, you know, like touching the paper and stuff. It's cool. I mean, you have like super cool design and stuff. So, but I really think that the QR code could be more
used.
You know, yeah, I think.
I agree. I think especially now when we're talking about these green kitchens and green sustainability and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, if you want to save a tree, don't print your menus and blah blah blah. And I think problem is there's so many people that are averse to technology as well. I know that we all think that oh my god, you don't have a mobile phone, really? What rock did you come out under? A lot of people say that, but some people don't like mobile phones, right? And if you are somebody that's you don't want a smartphone, you just want the phone just to make calls like back in the day, right? And receive calls.
Yeah, of course, I understand.
Then how can you read the menu, but the world is moving that way. I think they're definitely underrated.
But for example, I don't like you have all these iPads that have your menu and you can choose, this, for example,
you're not a fan.
Like it, I'm not a big fan. I prefer to have my menu, just have a look and then just ask to the waiter and everything, than order from the iPad. I mean, what is this?
I agree. I think it's a bit too much. The iPad, it just became. Exactly. I don't think he ever took. I think they tried it. It was a really cool thing. Oh, look at us! We can give an iPad to everybody. We can afford it, and the technological approach to everything. But I don't think it kind of stuck first. But I remember. I was trying to remember now a restaurant that I visited in London. I at the time I loved it, where the menu was the table. And the table, there was kind of a computer, like a touch screen thing that you
like an Asian.
It was an Asian thing, yeah. And I forgot the name. And I went there, and basically you could watch the chefs cooking, not your own dish, but like you had a camera in the kitchen. You would order through the table, and it was so cool and funky. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is really gonna take.
But that's okay, because I mean, this is something that you wouldn't see like from the table. It's quite
true, but I think it didn't take.
If you give everyone an iPad, like I don't know.
Yeah, but it didn't take as well because of the cost. I believe the cost of maintaining that and implementing that as well. I mean, it was. I'm sure it was a bit prohibitive, but yeah, I agree with you again. So QR codes. Sorry, it's your turn.
It's my turn. Wait. DryIce.
DryIce.
Yeah.
DryIce.
Overrated, underrated.
Overrated. It's all nice. I don't know. Back in the day when I was a bartender, you see it everywhere, right? And that's one of the reasons it's overrated now. Back in when I started as a bartender, we started using it, especially for Halloween, and you put it inside a nice shaker, and then you put some hot water in it, and there was smoke everywhere, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, look at it! It's so cool," and all that. Point is, cost is prohibitive. Yeah, it's amazing. Like there's a lot of places that bring you a dessert out to the table, and they put the dry ice, and then the dessert is full of smoke, and it's amazing for Instagram. And look at my dessert, and look at this. The point is, it's done. It's done. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Stop it. It does. It's not enticing anymore. I mean, it's nice to see, but you don't go like.
The thing, like you said, it's like it was used usually for special occasion.
Yes.
A special thing, and now people are using it for everything. So that's the problem. You are not wow anymore. That's the problem.
Which is another thing. Like for liquid nitrogen as well. Right, it's so dangerous to use. Most people don't know how to handle it. Right, it's so dangerous. There were cases that people died from actually drinking the bloody thing, and in the UK, and I'm sure across the world as well. But when I was there was a case, and then the government stopped it for a while, and all this. Dry ice, you need to be careful. I mean, it's just ice at minus 80 degrees, right? So if you touch it, you'll burn your hands. I don't know. It just cost benefit. Is it done? I think it's done. I think it's overrated right now. It was amazing back then. It was really cool to see. Now you kind of expect it, and it's kind of, oh, there you go. They put some dry ice. Everyone knows what it is. It's not rocket science. Stop it. Just save yourself some money. Just
use something else.
Yeah, that's it. Stop it.
Be more innovative.
So yeah. So
agreed.
I think we're on underrated there.
And sous vide.
sous vide, but this was my turn. No,
No, this is my turn. Yeah, it was your turn, but I like this one.
Sous vide. You know, the reason for me is overrated. Why? I know you're French and all this, but sous vide, you know, I remember, again, back in the day, a few years ago, everyone was on the menus used to be sous vide salmon with this, sous vide chicken breast with whatever. Okay, Robuchon, thank you very much. We do know that you cook your chicken in the morning and you cook it for 2 hours at 56 degrees or whatever it is. I'm not a chef, but
it's
you know.
Good.
Right. The whole thing that sous vide does, you cook it at a stable temperature for a few hours, a low temperature, stable temperature for a few hours, so you can pre-cook it. So when the customer orders it, you take it out of your Ziploc bag, right, or vacuum pack, and then you put it and you finish it. So it helps the service. It also makes it tender, right?
Yeah.
And you can, for example, when you cook octopus or you cook lobster or whatever, the sous vide technique helps because you don't overcook it or undercook it. You set the machine, it cooks it to a certain time, you remove it off the water, beautiful. And then you just color it, you grill it, you put it on the grill or on the pan, whatever, to give it some color. Great. But this is not, the reason I say is overrated, not the cooking technique. The cooking technique is amazing. It should continue to be used, but don't use it as a marketing technique. You know, this just helps you, you know, have consistency on flavors, consistency on cooking temperatures on your products, right? It helps you on your service. You can do your prep. You can, you know, you can have everything pre-cooked and then you finish it, which for the customer is still fresh, is still good. And you know that it's not overcooked or undercooked, right? You know it's cooked at the perfect temperature all the time if you take it off.
Okay, Chef Carlos.
No, but it's the truth, right? And for me, you know, every time I see sous vide on a menu, I'm like, oh, please shut up. Okay, great. Train your staff, do your stuff. Amazing, you know, serve it to me. Serve my octopus. I don't like octopus, but if I order octopus, serve it at the right temperature. Don't serve it too rubbery. Don't serve it undercooked. You know, my lobster, serve it perfectly cooked, but okay, fine, you sous vide. But you don't tell me, you know, if I order French fries, you don't tell me, yeah, deep fried French fries. Okay, thanks. I know it's deep fried. Like I know that the chicken breast is sous vide. Like I know the lobster will be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So fine. Like
I think it's also because it's a French word, and it's true. Like but look what I'm gonna say, and it's kind of hurts. But like it's same. Like for French cuisine, for example, for me it's overrated. Like
we agree on something else.
There is all this thing about like, you know, French cuisine and blah blah blah. Yes, it is good. I'm not gonna. It is not because I'm French. It is amazing, and we have big chef and stuff like this. But yeah, I think like for example, you know, that people are using a lot of French name to make it like a trend, but it's for me, it became overrated now. You know. I think this sous vide thing, it's just like, yeah, you put a French name on the menu and then, you know, it brings some, you know.
It kind of, you can add value to the product again.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think the reason people look at the French cuisine, I don't think people look at French cuisine as being an amazing cuisine anymore. I think what forever people look at is the French chefs, because in France, you have some of the best hotelier schools and the best chef schools along with Switzerland, right? So
yeah, the techniques, but then
the techniques and all that. I mean, I love my bœuf bourguignon. It's one of my favorite dishes ever. I love a lot of French dishes, these coq au vin and no jokes. I love this, you know, I love this. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about French cuisine, is that a dish that you gotta go, oh my god, like I can't find it anywhere else? Like,
yes.
Like what?
Don't push me, yeah. I'm not
like okay, you have your
okay. I say it's overrated, but don't push me either.
But it is overrated. It is amazing. It's a very tasty cuisine. I love it. It's a very tasty cuisine. But I'm saying what you're famous for now is not the actual cuisine itself or the actual dishes that you put out. It's the quality of your chefs, of the chefs. I mean, majority of the best chefs in the world are, well, used to be anyway, French. Right? So yeah, we agree on something else there. I think we cracked a lot of codes today.
Yeah, it was cool actually. It was a nice question.
We agreed on a lot of things, which is unusual.
Weird.
Right? Yeah, very different, but it's okay for a change every now and again. And I think we'll leave it there. Are we?
That's nice. Yeah.
So we're gonna, just look at the description. If you watched the video up until now, you will know what we talked about. But if you just skip to this part now, at the bottom we have the description of where you can find everything that we talked about, what second and what minute. It was amazing to have you once again. Thank you very much to the millions of people that watch us every single week.
Yeah. We're gonna get sponsored soon.
Incredible.
So we see some ads,
Yes, in the middle, like this subliminal. Yeah. Thank you so much. We love doing this. I think we do it because we love it. It's yeah. And thank you. We see you next week, and we'll tell you during the week what we're gonna talk about because we couldn't.
We never know in advance.
Yeah, we never know in advance. So, ciao. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bonne nuit. Bonsoir.
Bonne nuit. Bonsoir. Good night. Bye.